Hello, welcome to this episode of the Independent Dealer Podcast. Today, we are talking with Glenn Pasch, all things SEO, SEM, BBC, DBG, all these awesome acronyms in the digital marketing space. Luke, how do you know Glenn? Give us an introduction.
So everybody that comes to conventions should know Glenn. He's spoken at NADA, NIADA, and he really is the guru of digital marketing for car dealers. We appreciate your time, Glenn. Introduce yourself.
Well, thank you so much for having me. Yeah, I met Luke a while ago. I think Tracy Myers introduced us.
Yep.
It was at a mastermind or one of the events we were at. But yeah, I am the CEO of PCG Digital. We are a digital marketing firm. We specialize in automotive, both franchise and independent dealers. As Jeff said, SEO, SEM, advertising, Facebook advertising. And we also do consulting with dealerships to help them with their processes, digital retailing, auditing their marketing to make sure they're spending their money wisely.
This sounds
great. This episode was awesome, guys. We talked all about that. We talk about the digital retailing. We talk about SEO, SEM. We talk about texting, the importance of being directly available for customers, right, Glenn?
Yes,
be there.
absolutely.
Don't try to chase them. He made such a good point. Like, stop chasing them. They're there, and then you send them away, and then you go run after them. Like, we do the craziest things. It's awesome, guys. Stay tuned.
You are listening to the Independent Dealer Podcast with hosts Luke Godwin and Jeff Watson. Thank you so much for tuning in. Let's do this.
Dealers need to just take a step back and start thinking strategically with their money. To your point is they're getting sold a million different solutions. Every vendor out there is coming to them and saying, my widget, my X is going to generate more sales for you. And the dealers are going, who do I believe?
Right.
But I think you have to just take looking at first is your website. Is it easy to use? Is it too complicated? Are you giving them the information that they want? I think the biggest change of part marketing, part process is the days of, I can't tell you anything till you come here, right? Those are done, especially part because of COVID forced everybody to do stuff online, and customers are like, oh, well, if we can do it this way, let's always do it this way. And so in terms of your marketing, that's part of what I would be marketing. If I'm focused on right now, unless you're the bottom base price dealer everywhere, and that's your message, okay. Other than that, you should be marketing on Facebook with video about why I should do business with you. I think we got to get back to that route right now in terms of marketing.
Glenn, you brought up something very interesting right there. You said video. We all talk about video. We all want to do video, but how much better is a message put out by video than by just simple post? Is it that big a deal?
Yes. I mean, I think if you take if you think of think of the place that you go to consume your news. And for your audiences, I want you to think the same thing. Wherever you consume your news, whatever it is, or your sports, what do you see on there? Every article has a video and text. Why? Somebody wants to watch a video and understand it. I personally sometimes will mute the video because I want to read something.
Me too.
So if that's million-dollar business, multi-billion-dollar businesses have decided that people want to consume both, then I think you have to. So I would just tell dealers, don't overcomplicate it. I would either hire someone professionally to or someone that can really put a nice video together, but just simple 5 videos or 4 videos, like why should I buy from you? Why should I, if you do service, why should I service with you? How do you, take care of cars, or how do you give good value? Those basic things. And once you film them, they're done. Leave them there. And then, as I said, focus more on a video of why I should do business. Like the car is the car. You can walk around, have a video, but at the end of the day, I get to know you or a sense of you through video more than a post.
For sure. How long should those videos be?
Short. Like, again, as long as it needs to get your message across, but keep it simple. I'd rather so for instance, if the dealership had their brand message, let's say like my clear pricing on my website, pick up where you left off using our tools, or I have tools to save you time. And, once you pick your car, we can get it you in and out of here in X, whatever those things. I'd make one big overall one, and then I'd make little short clips of each one of those, because then you can push them out. Maybe 1 to 2 minutes. I mean, if you're longer than that, what else are you saying? I think if you go longer than 2 minutes, I'd rather have 2 1-minute videos than 1 5-minute video.
That's interesting. We hired a company to come in and do that, and it was broken up into a lot of 15 to 30-second spots, or not spots, but filming, and then they edited it all together. So I think there's all kind of little ways to do that. And don't get me wrong, you don't need to hire a company to come in and do that.
Yeah, you can. It's up to you. And then same to touch on that for your 15 and 30 seconds. Some of those then can be used for advertising on YouTube, pre-roll, because they're only 15 seconds. And then you can cobble together, you put it together for a longer one. But yeah, that's, again, however involved you want to be, but it is leveraging video. We all watch video. It's just, same thing when you're on those websites and you're looking at your news, there's always that little bumper ad before. Well, why can't it be your company? Why can't it be the bumper in your, within 20 miles or 15 miles of your location? Why can't you be the one who's there?
One thing I did about 4 years ago was I made the commitment that I needed an in-house person. I don't love the idea of having to hire out to a crew to come in and shoot a commercial, because what happens is, as dealers, we do that once, we get all excited about it, and then we try to ride those videos out for 3 or 4 years. They become outdated, they become old, they become just kind of noise. So we made the commitment to hire an in-house, content creator, videos, pictures, all that stuff. And she just creates videos for us constantly, so that we're always putting out new and fresh information. Even if it's the same message, it's repackaged in different ways through our salesmen's personalities to get that out there. And then it becomes the quantity, not only the quality of the content, but also just the sheer quantity that we can put out is exponentially more than if we hired a company once.
Absolutely. And I think if I'm asked that question often, in terms of marketing, what should a dealer do? Like, I run an agency, but if I told a dealer, I'd tell them what you just did. I'd have somebody who could do content, shoot photos, and shoot videos. I'd probably try to do everything in-house. My brother's going to kill me for saying this, but I'd probably do everything in-house except for paid search, because paid search, it takes a while to get up to speed to know what to do. And then those people get headhunted out real quick.
Yeah, I want to talk about that, actually. So I was in my Analytics yesterday and my AdWords yesterday on a couple of my businesses that I run these for. And I have no idea what I'm doing, Glenn. I really don't. I think I know what I'm doing, and I'll build out some ads, and I'll build out some keywords and some phrases, and I'll try to geographically, because I was getting hits from like New York and all over the place for these keywords, and I'm paying for these keywords that are nonsense. And I don't know how to look at my analytics and decide where my bounce rate is too high. Is my choke page doing me more harm than good? Is this term actually bringing in good people, or is it just getting the clicks because they think it's something else? And when I go onto a browser, like if I go into like an incognito browser and I search up, used cars, St. George, Utah, because I don't want to do it with my login, right? Because I'll get biased results if I do it with my login. And I'm like, I'm not even on the first page. Well, what the freak am I paying for if I'm not on the first page of these search results that I think I'm?
That's where you got to hire Glenn.
So what do you do? So there's two things.
I mean, I don't want to go down that road yet. We all know that that's going to be the ending point is we need to hire you. But
no. I'm not saying
I just want dealers to know that you're not alone. You know what I'm saying?
No, absolutely.
There's some of this you can do, and then there's some that it's like,
some you have to hire out, but forget that, because what we've done, even Luke and your wife, we trained. Right? We did training. So we have a division or a part of our company where we've created online training, right? We talked to NIADA about it, how to partner and, try to help. And then they were going to build their own. But we have online courses where basically it's a screen share, meaning you're watching someone go, here's how you do it, right? So that's one piece, is getting the education. The other thing is having someone just audit it, right? So we've done that for dealers too. It's a one-time fee, and we just go through everything. We literally get access, and we just go, we have our, and the people who are auditing are the people who are running it for us. So we have our social media person go through your social media, paid search go through, and then they present it to you and say, this is good, this is not, here's this, here's that, here's what you should do. And so we've done that before. We've built agencies in dealership groups. I know sometimes it says, why would you do that? But I'm like, well, that's what you need help with, so let's fix that. So I think to your point is, it's getting the right education, and then sometimes just having an outside eyeball go, am I nuts? Am I hurting myself doing this? And just having that coaching all of a sudden goes, all right, I'm not that bad, or ooh, no, that's not good. So,
yeah, if you're doing it yourself, probably guaranteed you're throwing 50% of your AdWords budget down the garbage can because you don't know that you're targeting the wrong people or paying for clicks that are useless. Right?
Yeah.
50%, 75%.
I don't know if it's that high. I mean, we found
maybe it's just me, but
no, we even when we go and we audit some dealers through our audits, and these are big companies doing their marketing, you know, website platforms doing stuff for other big agencies. We really can find 25% waste that just needs to be reallocated. You know, like one thing that we found was dealers were spending a lot of money on buying their own name. Like to us,
ridiculous.
That's stupid. But somewhere along the line, someone did type in their name, and there was their competitor buying their name. And I'm going, but they typed your name in. They're looking
they want you.
They're looking for you. Now, that doesn't mean that they may go there, but, and you have to really work with dealers to convince them not to do that. But they were spending thousands of dollars on their name.
I do that all the time. When I'm going to look at Luke's site and I type in Godwin Motors, I click on the ad right above it, not the actual organic result. I just do it on purpose.
Glenn,
$1.50,
how often does this thing change? So Google has their formula that I'm sure y'all get educated on, but how often does it change? So how often do we need to change?
Honestly, they're changing stuff every single day that they don't even tell you about. But there's major updates, but not, I mean, it's not crazy. Not as often as everybody thinks it is, but you definitely need to stay updated because strategies that worked a year ago aren't working today. So it is being someone who, even if you're doing it yourself, just reading some of the search engine land and some of the blogs, or going to a conference and asking somebody, or just having a network of people that you can call up, right? I have tons of dealers call me up. They're not my clients, but I just know them, and they call up and they say, what do you think about this? Or what's this? Or what about that? I think that's surrounding yourself with people you can call up. But to your point is, sometimes there's major changes, or there's just strategic changes where websites now have gotten better so they can be found. So you don't need to buy your name, where before you weren't 100% sure if I typed in my name, my own website would show up. So I had to buy the ad. So that's really having someone who's going to help you. And the other part is what we talked about earlier, is just getting yourself educated as much as you can to just at least understand what we're talking about, versus I think sometimes dealers with education think that, oh my God, I have to do this. Like, no, but you should know how to have a conversation about it so that you don't get ripped off, or somebody wasting stuff. You know what questions to ask. But ultimately, all marketing should come down to, no matter who you hire, should come down to a very simple thing. How many phone calls, how many, when I got the people on my website, how many forms got filled out, how many people had chats with me, how many had texts with me. And if you're doing my marketing, showroom chat, people should be walking in. If I'm not, or if I can't prove that, telling me how many people clicked, okay, well, what'd they do on my website? Oh, well, I got them there. Nah, you're not my marketer. I don't want to be with you.
So is there a difference in, or should I say, difference? Is there a difference in some website, automotive-based websites compared to others on how they react to Google? Because it seems like a few years ago, we made a change from one website provider to another, and automatically, in my opinion, we got more leads. Is that hocus pocus or what is that?
Oh, good question. Well, so again, more leads depending on, so there's two ways to look at that. One, I would take a step back first and say, well, did your traffic to your website increase? Right? So if you're saying to me, I had my old website platform, I had 5,000 visitors every single month to my website. In my analytics, like 5,000 people came. I switched platforms and now I get 9,000. And if you say, well, I haven't changed anything, meaning no, I didn't increase my budget, right? Everything net is the same. Well, the only difference is a technology. So yes, your question is some of the platforms, not that they're designed better from a framework. A lot of it is also the back end SEO, which can be technical, but basically a lot of the back end is telling Google, this is what, when somebody types in X, this website should show up, or it should be considered. And then a lot of the consideration in your ranking is based on how relevant your website is, the content, again, a lot of the framework. I look at websites sometimes and I'm going, you're not even, I'll talk to the dealers and I'll say, well, where are you targeting? They're like, that town over there. I said, there's 0 on your website talking about that town over there.
Mm-hmm.
And now you understand why you're not showing up. So it can be the platform. I think but again, platform out of the box is going to be good, but it's going to be good for your town, because that's what it's all plugged and played of, here's your town. But if you want to go outside of that area and you want to show up for more things, well, then you need someone, either you're doing it or someone that you hire to do it, to go in there and tweak it and add things to it and help it evolve to be found in search. And then for leads, again, it depends on what we're looking for in terms of leads, because I could say I got more leads, but if it just means that I put forms at every stop point, like I can't show you my price until you give me your name. Okay, well, I got more leads. Well, were they really good leads, or did people give you BS emails just so I could get through the gate? And now that's a useless lead that I'm wasting time chasing, and everybody's upset about that, right? So there is this thing where we are evolving now to say, why? If we're going to let them have the information, or we're going to promise them that they can value their trade, or they could play around, with a tool to customize your payment, but you can't use it till you give me your name, well, then you're going to get a lot of crap. Yeah. And you're going to get, and more importantly, this is where, again, from a technical standpoint, if you actually in the back end tag the button, so I got 100 leads, but how many people clicked on the button and then left? And all of a sudden you go, well, I had 1,000 people click the button. That means I pissed off 900 people. Right? Yeah. That's a completely other, tangent about, from a technical aspect, really tagging everything that happens on your site, so you know where the obstacles are, where my leaks are, because if I spend all this money to drive them to the website and all I'm doing is pissing people off.
Yeah.
That's really hard for dealers to understand. Jeff, I know you went to a squeeze page. Have you done those things?
Yeah. I just recently, so my website issue was that, and still the whole technology side of it, and having a good solid website, has been my rub, and my conversation in the forums all the time is, I want a Carvana website for me. Like, I want someone to white label that and sell it to me with, the money they spend on that is ridiculous. And, the user interface and all the features and the widgets, if I try to rebuild that now with my platform, I've got to have 15 different vendors. And it's frustrating for me right now. But anyways, yes, switch to a choke page. It's been great. I'm not going to complain. I mean, we get a ton of leads, and we get phone calls and conversations with people. And sure, there's a couple of fake ones. And I even tell people, look, if you don't want to put your stuff in, just give me a fake lead. I don't care. Like, put in test@test.com and bypass it. But it's way outweighed the bad. I'm in a subprime market. I do a lot of buy here, pay here. It's not been an issue. For me now, it's more like Glenn was saying, is the seamless technology. I want the technology piece, so that if I start putting the fire hose towards my website and I turn on my SEO and SEM, that I'm not just getting this huge bounce rate because they're just smashing up against a wall that's not giving them the info they need. I don't have video. I don't have 360. I don't have a finance area where you can start building your stuff out. I don't have an upload form where you can send me your documents directly online. I can get you 100% approved. You know what I'm saying? I don't have that yet, and that's my frustration. Hey, this episode is brought to you by theindependentdealer.com. This is our website. It's a great place to learn everything about the show, stay in contact with Luke and I, see where we're going to be speaking next, and check out all of our back episodes and content from the Independent Dealer Podcast. So visit the website, subscribe to our email list, and stay in contact with us. Back to the episode.
So let's move to that. Glenn, I know you've been involved with some manufacturers doing their digital retailing, and digital retailing is so important right this second. What can you tell us? What should we be doing right now for the future? Because the future got here all of a sudden last March. So what are we doing wrong? What should we be doing?
Pushed in the pool.
Yeah.
Everybody got pushed in. So think about it in a very simple form is what, to Jeff's point, what were you doing when you were locked down? If, like in New Jersey, they said showrooms were closed, you could do service, but you had to sell. The only way you could sell a car is you had to do everything online, communicate online. The only thing they could do is pick up the car. So if you think about what we did previously before all of this stuff, our goal, to Jeff's point, was I got the lead. I'm going to chase them. I'm going to come chase you because I wasn't there, right? If you really think about it, I basically told you my virtual showroom, right? Our virtual showroom, it was closed. Nobody was here to talk to you. Nobody can help you, but I'll chase you, right? So that's a separate conversation. But anyway, we get a hold of them, and our job was to set an appointment. So when they came here, the process began. Now, with the Carvanas of the world and Vrooms of the world and these other ones, they basically said, it's all right. We'll do it, whatever you want, and then we'll pick up. So the appointment came at various stages. Maybe I did a couple pieces, and then the appointment was halfway through the process. Well, I pick up where you left off and let's go. Or it was completely through till the end. So I think from even before the tech, if you don't have the tech, right, the tech is just a portion of it. Everybody thinks the tech is the big thing in digital retailing. It's about 20% of it. Because you got to merchandise your website, that's a piece. You got to market it out to people and say, I have a new process. But it's really about leadership. It's about what am I willing? You have to commit to say, I'm willing to give you all the information. And I'm willing to do that. Yeah. Right. So dealers have probably given out more information over the phone and email about car deals in the last 3 months than they have in the last 300 years.
Yeah.
Because they had to. So I'm saying is even before the tech, Jeff, it's what am I willing to do? What is my the tech fits into your process. The problem is everybody goes and gets the tech and then goes, well, what am I supposed to do?
How am I going to build the process? Yeah.
Exactly. Well, that's my problem. I don't think the tech's there to build the process around.
Well, it's both. But if you could, my point is I've played around with almost every digital retailing tool. And they all have pluses and minuses. None of them are 100% perfect. But if you said your process was more when somebody clicks a button, I want to start from a chat-based conversation versus here's a form linear. Yeah. Well, if that's your process saying, no, I want to be more like right there, well, then you'd go after that technology, right? So I'd veer over to, if you ask me, I'd say, well, I'd go look at these two technologies. I'd look at a Gubagoo or a Car Now or something like that versus other ones that are no, I want to be more linear with forms, right? So yes, it is a dance. It is a combination of the tech's going to help your process, but to pick the right tech, you have to decide what you're willing to do. And I think that's what where customers now, because of the Carvanas, they're going to expect everybody eventually, or even the people that you sold during COVID. The next time they come by, they're going to want that same experience again, or even better.
Yeah, but Carvana and Vroom, they're a self-help with an available agent, right? I mean, I've been through their website, not lately, but I'm pretty sure it's all self-help. The technology's there. It's linear forms with the ability to call the help button.
Right. So to my point is what I think. So again, whether people love Carvana or not. If you read some of the reviews, you know, there are people, and I've talked to people who have bought cars through it. There is a little bit of an aspect of, for some people, I settled on a car that I didn't really love. Wasn't 100% what I wanted, but boy, was this easy.
Mm.
So if I tell dealers, what I tell dealers are, you can put people in exactly the car that they want.
Mm-hmm.
You should be focusing on how to make it easy, right? So again, is your website, going back, we had a conversation earlier off, or I touched on it here. We have some clients that are starting to take forms completely off their website. Forms completely. So it's either you go into the digital retailing tool, there's a button that says ask us a question or schedule a test drive. And if you click on ask me a question or schedule a test drive, it pops up to a chat and talks to somebody in the dealership. Some of them still might want to have a button that says like get today's price or get, you know, e-price, whatever. But when you click that button, it pops up to a chat and I'm talking to Luke in the dealership. There is no more form and chase. It's somebody's knocking on the door. They're walking on the virtual lot and they're waving their hand at a car and somebody steps right there and goes, how can I help you? And someone goes, oh, that was great. And then you get conversations, you get their information, and then they don't have to go to another dealership and hope someone else answers their question for them.
You got to have available agents ready to field those.
But I'll tell you right now, there's, again, depending on staff, I've been in dealerships a lot where there's a lot of downtime, you know, and people are looking out onto the lot going, where are people?
But they all come at once, unfortunately.
And then if you go in the analytics and you look at their, if you have your buttons that say, click on this and click on that, click on that, you know, and you say, how many people did it? What if those were conversations, right? So somebody clicked on get e-price on your vehicles 500 times. What if those were 500 conversations that we started having? How many people could we have scheduled for an appointment to come in to buy a car versus if I get 500, now by the time I go try and get them and talk to them, maybe I schedule a third of them for an appointment and half of them show up and and so maybe I'm selling 10%. But if I actually talk to all 500 of them.
Yeah.
Glenn, you know, it's funny, in our sales meeting on Friday morning, I went over urgency. And what I hear, is what I told my sales staff on Friday morning. We need more urgency with these leads that are on our website. You can't wait to get back to them, because I know if I'm going to buy something and I see it, I'm on Amazon, I buy it. Right. Or if I see something on a website, I want more information, I call the people. So I think your point is so accurate that if we have a way for our staff to communicate directly with someone on our website, it's going to get, that's digital retailing. That's what people want.
Yeah.
Just one quick thing. Does it matter whether a customer is subprime or prime when it comes to what they want from the purchasing process?
I would say I think everybody wants ease.
Yeah.
And they want their questions answered. You know, so at the end of the day, even if you look at the digital retailing tools, right, been doing this now with different brands and models and manufacturers and tools, there's really only maybe 5%, 6% going all the way through. But most of them are stopping at the first 2 or 3 steps, which is, can I afford this? Like, what's the price? What can I get for my trade-in? And maybe there's some incentives they see, and whether they want to get pre-approved or not, sometimes they don't. But that's what it is like, do I like this car? Can I afford this car? And then if you're there to help them, like, think about that. Even if you didn't want to take some of the buttons off, but instead of having the chat pop up, which is annoying, but when somebody has an actual question that popped and talked to somebody, it'll freak them out, because then it's not about chasing them. Like, then you don't have to stay on your sales team and go, hey, so somebody was at your dealership, they had a question, you ignored them. So now I'm on to something else. I went back to work. I'm now shopping. I'm with the kids. And now you call me up when it's convenient for you, not when it was convenient for me. And now you're wondering why your contact rate is so low, versus being right there for them when somebody has a question. you'll be surprised how many people will say, you're the only dealer that answered my question. You're the only dealer who was available. And so they don't have to go anywhere else.
We installed Facebook Messenger on our website maybe about 3 weeks or a month ago. And it is incredible how many people click that button and message our dealership through Facebook.
Sure.
If you haven't done that, I think that's a free way to get chat on your website essentially. And people really, people like it.
Well, let me ask you a question on that. Out of those conversations, are you finding that people are more engaged with your team and more willing to come in and your scheduling? Like, I mean, do you see that?
It's amazing. I mean, you can bot chat them, I guess, into a certain thing. And we've done that to a point, but they are super engaged. They always respond. Even if it took a little while for you to get back to them, which sometimes it's me answering and that happens. But I've not yet had a customer that Facebook messaged my website, and when I sent something back to them, didn't respond to me. And we know how rare that is. So I think it's a very engaging process.
But to your point, all of us here, if we're honest with ourselves, we don't love email. We don't even like getting called half the time. Like, we screen our calls. We look at it and go, but if you texted me, you text anybody right now, I'll guarantee you 85%, 90% of them are going to respond to you because it's convenient. It's easy to just go, hey, whatever, Facebook Messenger. But no, we still are in this idea that email is the best way, but nobody loves it themselves, but that's what I want, versus, hey, if you just want to text, let's roll. Opt in, we'll text. You want a Facebook message? Right? And so dealers have to start thinking about processes and ways. Where is everybody going to talk to us? Just because we loved email or forms. I mean, I saw a form the other day. It said, email, phone, which would you prefer? But it forced me to still give you an email, even if I clicked call me on my phone. But I still got to give you my email, or else like we're not thinking through stuff. And that's where I think the evolution or adapting is really more about, how do we make our websites user-friendly? How do we make it easy for them to engage with us the way they want to engage? So I'm not surprised that Messenger isn't blowing up, because we see engagement rates for chats and texts huge, email dropping, because nobody wants to wait anymore. So we have to design our websites to make it so that customers don't have to wait to get an answer, because we're all.
Glenn, so I 100% believe in all this. I'm completely on board. Luke knows I've been touting this from the beginning. And I guess for just 1 second, can you tell me, are there any names? Are there any website providers that are anywhere close to this?
Yeah, well, there are some website platforms that have their tools are all integrated into all of this. Now, whether they're not coming out to say we're now a formless website, but if we request it, they do it. Or they simplify the call to actions on VDPs, right? If you look at most vehicle detail pages, they have 5 or 6 or 7 or 8 buttons. They have 2 trade-in tools and all this other crazy stuff, versus streamlining it down to 3 buttons. So yeah, they're not coming out of the box that way, but they're adapting that way. And all of them, Dealer Inspire does a good job. Dealer eProcess does a good job. And then you have the tools themselves. I like Gubagoo and CarNow because their digital retailing tools or virtual retailing tools were built with a chat mentality. So like Gubagoo's and CarNow, if someone's in there, I literally can co-browse with them. I can see what they're looking at. I can push them a page. I can jump into it with a video. I can do everything through the chat.
Wow.
Right. So I can push everything and
right.
and you can get alerts where if somebody's into the chat, you can set it so everybody's phone goes ding. And so that way everybody then runs over and somebody answers the chat or gets involved with the chat. So, do
you know of any that have an integrated like self-help digital retailing portion as well? I mean, I guess my perfect world is the customer can do it all.
Oh yeah, no,
with
all
the
of those,
assistance of the salesman jumping in and saying,
oh
hey,
yeah,
okay, here's your interest rate you're approved for, shop cars in this price range, and they structure it all out. And then literally all I have to do is just be like, okay, deliver.
yeah. So all of the platforms are full self-service if you want to go down that route, right? So they will be like, let you go customize your payments. Again, they're going to put in what you think your credit score is. Most people can plug it in, and then they'll say, here, again, it's all, a lot of it can be designed by the dealer to say how much or how little I want to put. They can put their incentives in. You can plug in your zip code and get your applicable taxes. You can do a soft credit pull. You can do a full credit pull. You can even put F&I products on it. But again, and then have people pop up to help. But very few people, part because it's still new, really go all the way down because they're afraid, if I push this button, did I buy a car?
Yeah, but as a salesman, I can jump in and say, hey, you've structured
Absolutely.
it right. Everything's good. I'm going to print these documents for you. Put your credit card in here to take a deposit. We'll drop the car off at 3 o'clock.
So what will happen is you can get through the tool and then you can push it to the dealer.
Is that Dealer Inspire or Dealer eProcess?
Dealer eProcesses tools called Sarah. That they do that. Dealer eProcesses, Dealer Inspires is called Online Shopper. You have Gubagoo VR, which is their Gubagoo virtual retail. You have Car Now, it's their buy now platform. But all of them, dealer.com, Cox Automotive has theirs. There's another one called Modal. So there's a bunch of different
Maybe I've been
ones.
barking up the wrong trees because I haven't seen anything with any kind of robust, actual, get them done in the website.
Yeah,
these are franchise stores doing a lot of this, and so
for the indie.
But they have a lot of independent dealers using the tool too, because you load up your inventory and then you set your stuff in the back end. You help based on the banks and the financing outlets that you have. You pump that information into the tool. And again, then you can set certain flags of when you get involved or someone pushes the deal to you, and then you say, I'll get back to you and I'll approve it. Yep, I accept this deal, or hey, I reconfigured this. Here's a different thing. So yeah, they're all there. A lot of it, again, is based on what you're trying to do on the back end of how much you're willing to do or how you do it. But they all service independents. They all serve franchise. But yeah, there's so much of the technology out there that somebody physically could just go buy a car. Again, Carvana and Vroom, it's easier for their design because they're all pre-owned cars, where franchise with all the trims and all the other craziness and incentives from there. But actually, most of the people that we talk to in the digital retailing space all think they love working with independents because it's easier. There's less of all of this manufacturer stuff on top versus the tool's super easy to do, load it up, and like I said, then people can jump in, managers can jump in, I can text with them, chat with them, Zoom call with them, video call with them, all that stuff. So I would look at all of them, but for the independents, I probably would lean towards looking at Gubagoo or Car Now, just because they also base off on a chat platform and you can do a lot from them. And versus some of the other guys, their tools are designed for their websites more than, they can put it on other people's websites, but I think I've seen them go on, I think Car Now has something like 4,000 or 5,000 dealerships on it, same thing with Gubagoo. And they're constantly evolving, but yeah, those two I would definitely get demos with. They're great, and I can connect you to the CEOs. They're both friends of mine. So
that's definitely. I think we've beaten that to death, but I'm determined. I'm like determined to eliminate all my salesmen and go directly to just making the customer sell themselves. And all I got to do is hit approved, not approved, approved, not approved.
All right, so we've beat our websites to death. The one thing I really I'm interested in is Google My Business. Glenn, what should we be doing there? How important is it?
Super important. If you think about it, if you type in your name, what pops up? Your website and your Google My Business.
Yep.
Google My Business is your directory. Over the last year, they have expanded the things that are in there from, just not just photos anymore, but videos. And yes, your reviews are there, which are super important. Every dealer should be having a reputation strategy to make sure we're getting reviews. But now with Google Posts or product listings, you can start putting vehicles in there. You can show it if you do service, right? If you do service, you can create now a separate service listing, right? So now I can have a service listing that comes up for searches for service, right? Now for pre-owned, used cars, you don't have as many that some categories like a new car dealer, but you're sitting there going, I'm a used truck dealer, I'm a used car dealer, and then I can start doing some other things that you do in terms of your financing. You do auto financing and all these categories that now you can come up for when somebody's searching in the area, versus before most people just have a used car dealer, right? And so that means all those other things you're, again, telling Google, if I don't type in your name, but I'm looking for used car dealer MME, but if I'm looking for service or I'm looking for brake repair and I'm looking for wheel alignment, you're not coming up. So why should all that work go to the independent service centers when you're going, I do this stuff, I want to get this stuff. So it's super important to keep it optimized, to make sure you have the right categories in place, to make sure you have all of the right information, as well as then making sure you're tagging, again, technical, a UTM code tag on your button. So that way, when you do look in analytics, you can see how many people are coming to your website from Google My Business. If you don't do that, then it all gets bundled into organic traffic and you don't know how important I think that's why also a lot of people don't realize how important Google My Business is. They haven't segmented the traffic, and probably if you really looked at it, a lot of your leads are coming from people clicking on Google My Business and coming to your website from that way than just clicking on your website. So
should we treat Google My Business kind of like a Facebook page as well, that we need to add content a lot? And is that dual? I mean, is that needed?
No, I would say you should think of it as a mini website. Okay. Because part of my brain always, thinks, what's Google doing now? Like the day that they turn around and go, you could put all your inventory on Google My Business. You won't need a website anymore. Pay us, That's just my evil side. But no, I would think it's not so much that you need to change your content, but you just have availability. So if you do service and you're running some specials, well, you can put a Google post up that runs for 7 days. And so, you can go change it. Same thing with your products. So again, if you have certain vehicles that are that you want to move or that you think are special or unique, you can load them up into there. So when somebody clicks and opens it up at the bottom, they're like, well, here's some vehicles. So you got to think of it as a small mini website that I can do. So it don't have to change tons, but monthly you should add some stuff in, tweak it.
Well, Glenn, I'm out of questions. Jeff, you got anything left?
I got a million, but Glenn's he's got to leave us eventually. But Glenn, so to wrap this up, tell us, I'm definitely interested. I'm calling you, emailing you right when we get done with this. I need an SEO audit on my AdWords. I know I'm going to make a confession. I let some company off Fiverr actually go in and do some stuff years ago. So I don't know if it got hijacked by some Russian bot or something. But anyways, I'm going to call you to do an audit. How can everyone get a hold of you?
So the easiest way to get a hold of me is you can go to pcgdigital.com, or you can just find me on social media. I hang out a lot on Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter as just Glenn Pasch. Just DM me. That's the easiest way to do it. But or PCG Digital, come see what we do. We can help you.
Awesome.
Thank you, Glenn.
Thanks, Glenn.
Thanks.
Thank you for joining us today. Hope this episode inspired you to take positive action. Remember to subscribe so you get each episode the day it comes out. And we would love your help spreading the word. Leave us a review and share this podcast with your dealer friends. Dealers helping dealers learn and grow together.